Did you know that inside the Grand Canyon, an enormous slice of Earth's history simply vanishes? Or that Arizona hides a waterfall taller than Niagara that sometimes pours down like liquid chocolate? And that entire forest here didn't just die, they turned into glittering stone? Arizona isn't just a desert, it's a geological fever dream of missing time, alien rock waves, blue water miracles, and scars left by fire from the sky. Get ready. Because today, you'll discover 40 mind-boggling facts about Arizona's geography that will completely change the way you see this state. Welcome back to Life in the State. Today, we're crossing one of the most misunderstood states in America. We're going from pine kingdoms to lava tubes, from ghost towns to turquoise waterfalls, from ancient seas to the most famous canyon on Earth. And trust me, the fact at number one makes the Grand Canyon even stranger than most people realize. Once you hear it, Arizona stops looking like a desert on a map and starts feeling like an entire lost world compressed into one state. Number 40. Arizona is far more forested than most people imagine. For a state that gets reduced to cacti and heat in the popular imagination, Arizona begins this countdown with a plot twist. Roughly a little over a quarter of the state is forested. That means millions upon millions of acres of actual woodland spread across mountains, plateaus, and river corridors. In other words, one of America's most iconic desert states is also a state of pines, firs, junipers, cottonwoods, and shaded canyons. Arizona's first great trick is simple. It lets the desert take all the attention while entire green kingdoms hide in plain sight. Number 39. Northern Arizona holds the largest contiguous ponderosa pine forest on Earth. Around Flagstaff, the stereotype shatters completely. This is not a scattering of trees clinging to a mountain. It is a colossal belt of ponderosa pine stretching across the high country like an army of tall, rust-barked sentinels. Stand there long enough, and Arizona begins to feel less like the Southwest and more like some secret inland wilderness. The scent of vanilla from warm ponderosa bark, the cool wind moving through the canopy, the volcanic peaks in the distance. None of it fits the usual script, and that's what makes it so unforgettable. Number 38. Arizona even climbs into alpine country. The higher you go, or the stranger this state becomes. Arizona doesn't stop at forests. In the highest elevations, it pushes into spruce fir country and even alpine tundra. That means a place famous for blistering heat can also build landscapes of frost, thin air, short summers, and winter storms. It is one of the best examples in America of how elevation can rewrite reality. Down below, the desert bakes. Up above, the mountain keeps its own weather, its own plants, and almost its own personality, as if Arizona were secretly stacking multiple states on top of each other. Number 37. Arizona's vertical range is astonishing. This state rises and falls with a kind of drama that feels almost theatrical. Near the California border, the Colorado River sinks to roughly 70 feet above sea level. Then, not all that far away in the grand scale of a state, Humphreys Peak towers to 12,633 feet. That is a staggering vertical range packed inside one set of borders. It's the reason Arizona can produce scorching low deserts, cool forests, snowy summits, and canyon country all at once. The land here doesn't gently roll. It lunges, collapses, climbs, and breaks upward in giant gestures. Number 36. Arizona contains climate extremes that sound fake until you live them. Phoenix has made triple-digit heat feel almost routine, while Flagstaff turns around and reminds everyone that Arizona can be brutally cold too. In one part of the state, the sun feels like a furnace door left open. In another, frost and snow arrive with real authority. That split personality is part of Arizona's magic. When it is a place where somebody can be hiking in desert scrub in the morning and driving toward snowy peaks by afternoon. A lot of states have variety. Arizona has contrast so sharp it feels like you cross time zones, climates, and seasons without warning. Number 35. The Sonoran Desert is the wettest desert in the world. That sounds like a contradiction, and that is exactly why Arizona loves it. The Sonoran Desert doesn't survive on one rainy season. It gets two. Winter systems bring one pulse of moisture, and summer monsoons bring another. That double rhythm transforms the desert into something shockingly alive. It helps explain why this place can support towering saguaros, dense thorny plant life, bursts of wildflowers, and extraordinary animal diversity. Arizona's signature desert is not dead land, and it is a brilliantly adapted engine of life, waiting for the right storm to wake up and explode into color. Number 34. The saguaro is less a cactus than a desert monument. These giants are the royalty of southern Arizona. A healthy saguaro can live for more than 150 years and stretch to around 40 feet tall. They don't just decorate the desert, they define it. Their silhouettes have become shorthand for the entire American Southwest, even though they naturally belong to the Sonoran Desert. Arizona protects them seriously because damaging one isn't like knocking over a shrub. It's like vandalizing a living monument that has stood through generations of drought, heat, lightning, and human history. In the desert, the saguaro doesn't merely survive, it reigns. Number 33. Southern Arizona is filled with sky islands. This is one of the most poetic ideas in American geography. A sky island is a mountain range that rises out of the surrounding desert or grassland so abruptly that it behaves like an island of habitat floating above a different world. Climb one of these mountains, and the biological story changes step by step. Desert scrub gives way to oak, then pine, then cool forest. Species from north and south overlap. Animals and plants find refuge where they never could, on the burning floor below. Arizona's mountains are not just mountains, they are lifeboats in the sky. Number 32. Flagstaff became the world's first international dark sky city. Arizona doesn't only own the land, it owns the night. Flagstaff took light pollution seriously long before most places did, but protecting its skies so thoroughly that it became the first international dark sky city. That darkness isn't just romantic, it changed science. Lowell Observatory in Flagstaff is where Pluto was discovered in 1930. So while other places paved over their stars with glare, northern Arizona guarded the heavens. In a state already obsessed with scale, this feels fitting. Arizona doesn't stop at canyons and peaks. It reaches upward and claims the cosmos too. Number 31. Around Flagstaff, the map becomes absurdly dense with wonders. Locals sometimes call it the City of Seven Wonders, and once you look at what surrounds it, that nickname starts to feel less like marketing and more like a warning. Within an easy drive are the Grand Canyon, Sunset Crater, Wupatki, Walnut Canyon, the San Francisco Peaks, lava fields, and other protected landscapes that most states would treat as headline attractions all by themselves. In Arizona, they crowd the same region like nature simply refused to edit. Around Flagstaff, the ordinary American road trip turns into a collision with one masterpiece after another. And that is just the surface version of Arizona, because once the wind starts moving and the map starts bending, the state gets even stranger. Number 30. Arizona's dust storms can look like the end of the world. During monsoon season, collapsing thunderstorms can blast out giant walls of dust known as haboobs. These are not little roadside swirls or messy gusts. They are towering, moving barricades of earth that can swallow cities whole. The famous July 2011 storm rolled across south-central Arizona for around 150 miles, and with radar estimates putting its height at roughly 5,000 to 6,000 feet. Imagine watching daylight get erased by a marching wall of desert. In Arizona, even the air can become landscape. Even the sky can suddenly decide to act like a canyon wall. Number 29. Arizona's weather loves breaking its own stereotypes. People think tornadoes belong somewhere else. They think giant hail belongs somewhere greener, wetter, and flatter. Arizona disagrees. In October 2010, the state saw its largest tornado outbreak on record, with at least 11 tornadoes in a single event. That same refusal to behave shows up in other storms too, with hail and violent thunderstorm outbursts turning the desert into a place of atmospheric ambush. Arizona weather has a mischievous streak, just when people think they have the state figured out. Hot, dry, and predictable. It throws spinning wind and ice at the script. Number 28. Arizona's big blue water is often man-made. For all its drama, Arizona has surprisingly few natural lakes in the lowlands. A lot of the large water bodies people picture on the map are reservoirs, not ancient natural basins. That makes the state's natural lakes feel almost ghost-like by comparison. Take Mormon Lake near Flagstaff. often described as Arizona's largest natural lake. Sometimes, in drought years, it can shrink dramatically or nearly disappear. That means one of Arizona's biggest natural lakes can look more like a marsh, meadow, or memory than a permanent body of water. In this state, even lakes can feel temporary. Number 27. Arizona shares the only four-state corner in the United States. At Four Corners, geography turns into a party trick. This is the only place in the country where four states meet at a single point: Arizona, Utah, Colorado, and New Mexico. It sounds almost like a child's puzzle until you stand there and realize the map has become physical. One step, one shift of weight, and you are crossing borders most people only see in atlases. It is a weirdly satisfying reminder that lines humans draw across landscapes can still become landmarks of their own. Arizona doesn't just have scenery, it has one of America's strangest map-based spectacles. Number 26. Arizona bought London Bridge and dragged it into the desert. If that sounds like a joke, that's because it sounds exactly like a joke. But Lake Havasu City really is home to the original London Bridge, dismantled stone by stone in England and reconstructed in Arizona. That means a piece of old London now spans a canal in a desert resort town, surrounded by heat, palms, and western light. It is one of those facts that feels so absurd it loops back around into legend. Only Arizona could make ancient British masonry feel at home under a blazing desert sky and somehow make the whole thing work. Number 25. Tucson is one of North America's oldest continuously inhabited areas. Long before Arizona became a state and long before American borders defined the region, people were living in and around what became Tucson. The city now celebrates more than 4,000 years of history in the area, and the Presidio San Agustin del Tucson was founded in 1775. That gives Tucson a depth many cities would kill for. Here, the landscape is not just backdrop, it is a corridor of human endurance where indigenous presence, Spanish colonial history, Mexican history, and American history all piled up at the same desert crossroads. Tucson doesn't feel recently built, it feels layered. Number 24. Arizona's map came long after the people. Today, the state is home to 22 tribal nations, and that fact matters when talking about Arizona's geography, because many of its most famous landscapes are also ancestral homelands. The Grand Canyon, Monument Valley, Canyon de Chelly, Havasu Canyon, and countless mesas, springs, and mountains carry stories far older than highways and tourism brochures. Arizona's land is dramatic on camera, but on the ground it is also cultural, sacred, and lived in. The canyons and deserts were never empty. They were known, traveled, farmed, named, and remembered long before the state line ever arrived. Number 23. Arizona is haunted by boomtown geography. All across the state, old mining towns rose fast, burned bright, and then collapsed back into the dust when the ore ran out. That is why Arizona has so many ghost towns. The land itself created them. Copper, silver, and gold pulled people into brutal terrain, and when the earth stopped paying, the buildings were left to bleach in the sun. Today, those ruins sit like cautionary tales in the open air. Wooden husks, abandoned streets, lonely cemeteries, and silence where commerce once roared. Arizona's ghost towns are what happen when geography promises fortune and then withdraws it. Number 22. One Arizona settlement was literally called Nothing. And somehow, that still undersells it. Nothing, Arizona, or it became famous for being exactly what its name suggested, a tiny roadside outpost whose humor was almost better than its infrastructure. By the time it faded into abandonment, the joke had become perfect. Nothing had become nothing. It is one of the most Arizona details imaginable, a place so small, so isolated, and so honest about itself that it turned emptiness into identity. In a state known for ghost towns and long stretches of open road, nothing feels less like an accident and more like the desert delivering a punchline. Number 21. Arizona mostly refuses daylight saving time. Even time behaves differently here. While most of the country performs the twice-a-year ritual of changing clocks, most of Arizona stays on Mountain Standard Time year-round. The major exception is the Navajo Nation, which does observe daylight saving time. That means in Arizona, time can change when you cross into a different jurisdiction, even if the sun and the terrain look the same. It is a subtle kind of weirdness, but it fits the state perfectly. Of course, Arizona would be the place where not just the land, but the clock itself refuses to follow the national script. Before we go underground, make sure to subscribe and leave a like to keep discovering the strange and incredible geography of our entire country. Because Arizona is only one chapter in a much bigger American story, and it somehow gets even wilder from here. Now the countdown leaves the surface and drops into the machinery underneath Arizona, the broken crust, the caves, the lava, the sinkholes, and the stone that remembers fire. Number 20. Arizona is split between two giant geologic worlds. Part of the state rides high on the Colorado Plateau, a lifted tableland of cliffs, mesas, and canyon country. Another huge part belongs to the basin and range, where Earth's crust was stretched, cracked, and dropped into long troughs, separated by mountain chains. Between them lies the rugged transition zone, where the land seems to be negotiating between one identity and another. Arizona is not one geologic personality, it is a borderland between systems. A place where uplift, stretching, faulting, and erosion all met and decided to make the map difficult. Number 19. The granite dells look like time-sculpted stone bubbles. Near Prescott, 1.4 billion-year-old granite rises in rounded heaps and giant, lumpy forms that almost seem playful. But the age behind them is anything but playful. These rocks were ancient before dinosaurs. Ancient before complex life reached the land, ancient beyond ordinary human imagination. Weathering slowly shaped them into smooth domes, stacked boulders, and fantastically rounded outcrops. Walking through the granite dells feels like strolling through a sculpture garden built by deep time itself. Arizona doesn't just display old rock, it puts prehistoric stone into shapes so strange they almost look designed. Number 18. White Pocket looks like a petrified ocean caught mid-wave. Hidden in the Vermilion Cliffs region, White Pocket is one of those places that makes Earth feel alien. The rock twists into swirls, domes, folds, and frozen waveforms colored white, red, cream, and gold. It looks less like a normal landscape and more like the surface of a planet built from whipped sandstone. What makes it so mesmerizing is that it began as sand dunes, then got compressed, warped, and exposed until the stone itself seemed to flow. Arizona keeps doing this, taking ordinary ingredients like sand and time and turning them into something that looks impossible. Number 17. The Salt River Canyon is Arizona's other great abyss. The Grand Canyon gets the global fame, but eastern Arizona has its own staggering gash in the earth. The Salt River Canyon plunges nearly 2,000 feet with steep walls, whitewater, and roadways that make drivers feel like they're descending into a separate world. It's sometimes called Arizona's other Grand Canyon, and while that nickname lives in the shadow of its more famous sibling, the canyon earns respect fast. Granite walls rise like fortresses, the river slices through the landscape with real force. And the whole place feels like Arizona reminding you it has more than one masterpiece. Number 16. Tonto Natural Bridge may be the world's largest natural travertine bridge. This isn't a sandstone arch in the classic desert sense. It's something weirder. Tonto Natural Bridge is made of travertine, a kind of limestone deposited by mineral-rich spring water over immense spans of time. The result is a massive stone bridge hanging above a tunnel roughly 400 feet long and standing around 183 feet high. It feels less like erosion carved it and more like water slowly built a cathedral in secret. Arizona is full of landscapes shaped by absence, canyons where rock was removed. This one is shaped by accumulation, by stone patiently growing in the dark. Number 15. Kartchner Caverns stayed secret because its discoverers knew how rare it was. When in 1974, two cavers found something extraordinary in the limestone foothills near Benson. But instead of announcing it immediately, they kept the cave secret for years. That decision probably helped save it. Kartchner Caverns is a living cave, meaning the formations inside are still growing. Moisture, mineral-rich drips, and stable conditions keep building delicate stone features that most people only ever see in photographs. The idea that a world this spectacular stayed hidden so recently feels almost unbelievable. Arizona managed to keep a secret underground palace long after people assumed every great cave had already been found. Number 14. Montezuma Well is one of the strangest bodies of water in the state. At first glance, it looks peaceful, a round sinkhole of blue-green water in a harsh landscape. But the well is a geological oddity loaded with dissolved carbon dioxide, arsenic, and minerals, while also supporting species found nowhere else on Earth. Water rises constantly from vents below, maintaining the pool in a place where rainfall alone would never explain it. It feels like a desert spring designed by someone with a taste for eerie details. Arizona loves that combination: beauty on the surface, strangeness underneath. Montezuma Well is a reminder that not every oasis is comforting. Number 13. Lava River Cave is a mile-long hallway left behind by fire. Beneath the forest near Flagstaff lies a tunnel born from molten rock. Roughly 700,000 years ago, lava flowed across the land. The outer shell cooled first, while the molten interior kept moving. When the liquid rock drained away, it left a hollow tube behind. Known today, that tube is Lava River Cave, a long, cold, shadowy passage through solidified fire. The whole place feels like walking inside the memory of an eruption. Arizona's high country doesn't just hide forests and stars, it hides black volcanic architecture, a natural subway carved by rivers of magma. Number 12. Northern Arizona is studded with hundreds of volcanoes. The San Francisco Volcanic Field is not one volcano. It is an entire volcanic province scattered across northern Arizona. The field contains around 600 cinder cones and other volcanic features spread across the landscape. A reminder that this region has been geologically restless for millions of years. That changes how you read the view from Flagstaff. Those peaks, cones, lava fields, and dark flows are not random scenery. They are the leftovers of repeated eruptions, each one reshaping local rivers, soils, habitats, and human possibilities. Arizona's high country is beautiful, but underneath that beauty is a violently creative past. Number 11. Sunset Crater erupted only about 1,000 years ago. In geologic terms, that is basically yesterday. Around 1085, the ground in northern Arizona tore open and sent ash, cinders, and lava into the sky. The eruption transformed the landscape and forced the people living there to adapt, relocate, and rebuild. Today, Sunset Crater looks quiet, even elegant, but that calm is deceptive. This monument is the preserved memory of a disaster that unfolded within recorded human history in the region. Arizona's volcano story is not some unimaginably ancient chapter. At Sunset Crater, the land reminds you that dramatic change happened here, not just in deep time, but in human time. If Arizona were only caves and volcanoes, it would already be one of the most mind-bending states in the country. But its biggest secrets are still ahead, because now we reach the impacts, the ancient seas, the crystal forests, and the canyon, where time itself seems broken. Number 10. Meteor Crater is one of the best preserved impact sites on Earth. About 50,000 years ago, a meteorite slammed into northern Arizona and left behind a scar so clean and dramatic that it still feels fresh. Meteor Crater is roughly 1.2 kilometers across and about 180 meters deep, a giant bowl punched into the landscape by a visitor from space. It's so pristine and scientifically important that NASA used it to help train Apollo astronauts. That alone tells you how otherworldly this place feels. Arizona doesn't just look alien in places, and it has a literal collision mark where the cosmos smashed into the desert and left the wound open for us to study. Number 9. Arizona built a planet under glass. Just outside Oracle stands Biosphere 2, a 3.14-acre enclosed world designed as a giant living laboratory. Inside are multiple ecosystems packed together under one shell: rainforest, ocean, desert, mangrove, and more. It sounds like science fiction because it almost was. In the Arizona desert, human beings tried to miniaturize Earth itself. Even among the state's natural wonders, Biosphere 2 fits surprisingly well, because Arizona already feels like a place where giant experiments happen. A closed artificial world rising from the desert is exactly the kind of surreal detour this landscape seems to invite. Number 8. Havasu Falls looks impossible for a desert state. Hidden within Havasu Canyon on Havasupai land is water so blue-green it barely looks real. The color is so distinctive that the Havasupai are literally known as the people of the blue-green waters. Here, a brilliant waterfall spills into pools that seem stolen from a tropical island and dropped inside canyon country. That contrast is what makes the scene so powerful. Arizona trains people to expect dust, rock, heat, and dry riverbeds. Then it reveals a place like Havasu and completely overturns the lesson. In Arizona, beauty often arrives by contradiction. Number 7. Grand Falls is Arizona's chocolate waterfall. When conditions are right, Grand Falls on the Little Colorado River roars to life in spectacular fashion. After rains and snowmelt, sediment-heavy water plunges down the cliff in a thick brown torrent that looks uncannily like liquid chocolate. And at around 185 feet, the drop is often described as taller than Niagara's famous plunge. The strangest part is that for much of the year, it can seem unimpressive or nearly dry, as if the landscape is saving its performance for the right moment. Arizona's waterfalls don't always live on a schedule. Some appear like seasonal magic tricks. Number 6. Parts of Arizona were once under ancient seas. This may be the single best fact for destroying the mental stereotype of the state. Long before saguaros, before coyotes, before deserts, parts of Arizona lay beneath shallow seas and other watery environments. Marine fossils preserved in the rock record still tell that story. That means some of the red rock, limestone, and layered stone people now associate with dryness were once shaped in environments full of water and life. Arizona's present can be so visually overpowering that it hides its own past. But the fossils whisper it anyway. This desert has ocean memories. Number 5, the Petrified Forest is a graveyard of crystal trees. Petrified Forest National Park preserves one of the most extraordinary transformations in American geology. Ancient trees that lived more than 200 million years ago were buried, mineralized, and slowly turned into almost solid quartz. These are not dull gray fossils. They blaze with reds, yellows, purples, and oranges, as if the forest died and was reborn as stained glass. Walking there feels like stumbling across the ruins of a gemstone jungle. Arizona took an ancient forest, buried it in the machinery of geology, and brought it back as rock so beautiful it almost looks artificial. Number 4. The Grand Canyon is so large the human brain struggles to hold it. It runs roughly 278 river miles, stretches up to 18 miles wide, and averages about a mile deep. Those numbers are familiar, but the canyon still defeats them. That's because the Grand Canyon is not just big. It is layered big, time big, silence big. It is the kind of place where distance and age gang up on your imagination until scale begins to fail. Photographs flatten it. Statistics shrink it. The real canyon overwhelms by accumulation. It is not one view, but a continent of walls, shadows, terraces, and stone stacked into a masterpiece of erosion. Number 3. At the bottom of the Grand Canyon, you can stand near rocks almost 2 billion years old. That is the kind of number that should feel abstract, but in Arizona, it becomes visible. The Vishnu basement rocks exposed in the canyon's depths are among the oldest rocks many visitors will ever see. They are remnants from a world so ancient it barely resembles the Earth we know. When you look from the rim down to those dark, battered foundations, you aren't just looking across space. You are looking backward through immense time. The Grand Canyon is famous for its size, but its true superpower may be that it allows people to literally see deep time layered in stone. Number 2. Even in the Grand Canyon, more time is missing than preserved. This is where the story starts to become genuinely eerie. The canyon is often celebrated as one of the world's greatest rock records, a place where Earth history lies open like a book. And yet the National Park Service points out something astonishing. More time is missing from that record than is actually preserved. Whole chapters were erased by uplift, erosion, and non-deposition. So the Grand Canyon is not just a history book. It is a history book with ripped out pages, missing volumes, and blank spaces so vast they become part of the mystery. Number 1, the Great Unconformity means Arizona's most famous canyon is also one of geology's greatest disappearances. Stand in the right place in the Grand Canyon and you're looking at rock layers separated by gaps of hundreds of millions of years. Depending on where you are, the missing time can be enormous, and across the wider canyon story, close to 1 billion years of Earth history is absent from the record. Imagine reading a novel where entire eras vanished between 2 pages and nobody could give you the full manuscript back. That is what makes the Grand Canyon so haunting. It is not only a canyon carved by water, it is a monument to lost time, a place where Earth's memory was broken, stripped away, and exposed for the world to stare at. And that is the real secret of Arizona. It is not one landscape, it is a compressed continent. A place where deserts bloom, mountains become islands, forests turn to quartz, volcanoes wait beneath pine trees. And the most famous canyon on Earth still cannot tell its full story, because too much of that story is gone. Arizona is not just scenic, it is cinematic, prehistoric, and deeply strange. After learning these 40 facts about Arizona, tell us, which one did you like the most? Or which one surprised you the most? Leave it in the comments, and let's see how many of us picked the same fact. And if you're from Arizona and we missed a great one, or if you want to correct something, jump in and add it. That always makes these videos better. And speaking of incredible facts, there's another video on the screen right now so you can keep exploring. See you in the next one.